But today, it's time to focus on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on XRP, and how the stock market performed over the course of the past week and how we can kind of make a prediction about what is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin next week. So if you are interested in that, do drop a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you've got those channel notifications turned on, and let's crack on with the video where, of course, we've got the price of Bitcoin on the screen right now. And Bitcoin, again, very boring range. Middle of June here, we've not moved in a very long period of time. Of course, we had this significant rally upwards. That was fantastic, a huge liquidity boost for most cryptocurrency traders. But during this period of time here, liquidity has dwindled, volume has dropped, and you can see here we had high amounts of volume and now we've got lower amounts of volume. That's not because Bitcoin's looking bearish, it's simply because there's nothing to trade. So why would anybody be trading? Everybody always talks about, oh, volume is a great indicator if the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. It's also a great indicator if the price is going to go down, because if people are getting really bearish and shorting a lot, then volume is going to rise. But it's not been rising. Volume has just been dropping off and dropping off and dropping off. We've really not seen any big volume days recently. And I think there's a big volume day coming next week. And I don't really think it's going to be news related, to be honest. I actually just think that Bitcoin is either going to lose the downside of this trading formation here or break to the upside. Because quite simply, if you look at Bitcoin like this, it looks very different than if you're looking at it like this. The reason is because, of course, we've got a key level of resistance that Bitcoin's price needs to break through. And that level of resistance, well, we got rejected from it last thing in the evening yesterday. We actually got rejected at this $29,500 level right here. And that means that Bitcoin's CME gap actually closed at $29,590, and $29,590 on the chart is about here. That's interesting because I guess this is where the CME gap closed at this point right here. But essentially, the CME gap currently sits on the outside of this pennant that we're currently forming. And that's pretty good news, to be honest, because that means that we're probably more likely to break up on Monday morning. And assuming that we break through this key level of resistance, that's looking great. I mean, that means that we've formed the W reversal pattern at the bottom. Just draw that on the screen right here. Bit of a W reversal pattern. That's looking pretty decent. At the same time, we need to assess the downside risk right now. And the downside risk would be we need to hold this level right here. That level sitting somewhere around $29,124. If we hold $29,124, it should be all okay. The kind of last bastion of hope is $29,000. We lose 29K, we're going down. I just think we're not at that point in the market where we're going to go down. If you actually look at where the liquidity bands sit right now, we're on the top of a huge band of liquidity. It would make more sense for us to suck up this low range here and bounce back up to the next range of liquidity, which will be up here, which is approximately $29,794. Again, tying in line with the theory around the CME gap this week. So Bitcoin on the whole is looking pretty decent, pretty okay in terms of Bitcoin dominance. Yes, Bitcoin dominance has been struggling this week. This is in large part due to Ethereum's Bitcoin value rising and actually looking like it's going to crack the top next week as we potentially have an altcoin bull run. And I think it might come, you know. I'm pretty optimistic, pretty confident. It does tend to be that if you are going to experience an altcoin bull run, it comes during the middle of summer when no one's really expecting it. If you remember altcoin summer 2017, that was amazing. If you remember back in the bull run, about 2021 summer was pretty good, and 2020 summer was pretty good, and 2019 summer was pretty good. In fact, 3 years there, summer was pretty good. And essentially, what you need to consider here is, when does Bitcoin halving take place? Now, the last Bitcoin halving, I can show you where it took place on the chart, on the price of Bitcoin, and show you what happened after that Bitcoin halving took place. Because again, it's important to understand, where does Bitcoin currently sit in terms of its market cycle. Now, the last Bitcoin halving took place just around this level right here, just before the giant COVID crash. When that crash happened, that was because the world was ending. Don't forget, the world was ending back then. And when the world was ending back then, nothing was going particularly well. So that's also important to consider. We also had a big rally up before the next Bitcoin halving, dropped down. This is nothing to do with it. This is just an anomaly in the charts. And then they started printing loads and loads of money. Now, don't forget, with what's going on with interest rates right now, there isn't actually an expected interest rate hike in the next month. An 80% chance of no rate hike at the next FOMC meeting. Unfortunately, that sits in 53 days' time, which puts us in a bit of a difficult spot, to be honest, in terms of what do you expect market sentiment's going to be in 53 days' time? Very difficult to predict, but you can expect that. We've all seen it in our own lives. The price of fuel has been dropping. Mortgage rates, they're starting to fall again. Housing market getting slightly healthier. I see a lot of people And this somewhat amuses me because I do deal in property. I see a lot of people right now going, oh, I'm not buying a house because the prices I think are going to crash, because I think that, I don't know why people think housing market's going to crash. The interest rates are higher than what they've ever been in ages. Housing prices are down probably 10% over the course of the past 12 months because of the rate hikes and that making mortgages more expensive. House prices are as low as they're going to get right now. If there's never been a better time to be buying property, to be buying assets, to be buying stocks, anything like that, because prices are low, investment is low, there is more cash in the system than ever because of the amount of cash that was printed, and all that cash that is currently locked up in bonds and all of these other things is about to get released. Don't forget, during the, I don't want to say the word, but when we all got locked inside, the bond rate, they put some really special bonds out there, and those bonds expire soon. When that money gets put back into circulation, what do you think people are going to do with it? Do you think they're going to re-lock it up into 10-year bonds, 5-year bonds, 2-year bonds? Or do you think they're going to just drop it on the market and invest into stocks and shares because prices are low? Do you reckon they're going to go out and buy houses because prices are low? Everything's price is low right now, especially in terms of assets. If you look at your daily costs and stuff, that's still pretty high. So because daily costs are pretty high and asset prices are pretty low, I just expect that's going to turn fairly soon. And I think that's pretty bullish for the altcoin market and especially speculative investing as a whole. I think that's going to increase. And of course, we were talking about Bitcoin halvings. What happens after a Bitcoin halving? Well, there was a Bitcoin halving back here where the price of Bitcoin went from like $500 up to 20,000. Then the price went down to 3,000. Everyone thought it was all over. Then it rallied up to 14,000 again and crashed back down to 3,000. Everyone thought it was all over. Then it rallied up to 60, 70,000. And then it crashed again, and everyone thought it was all over, and everyone was calling for $3,000 again. It is the same thing that happens every single market cycle. What did I tweet out earlier today? Because I think it's quite relevant, to be honest. I tweeted out, bull markets make you weak. Weak people become strong. Strong people create strong businesses, and strong businesses create bull markets, and then bull markets make you weak again. Weak people become strong. And it goes on and on and on. If you want to see how many times I actually tweeted that over and over again, I basically did lines on Twitter earlier today. And it's true. It's just an actual fact of the market that's what happens. That's how market cycles work. And currently, I expect a rate reduction within the next 4 months in terms of interest rates. I don't see why they would leave them so high. I think they would want to stimulate some investment into the markets. And if you actually think about the way that Bitcoin halving is going to coincide with rate reductions and reinvesting into the crypto markets, there's 262 days, 24 hours, 57 minutes until April the 17th, 2024, when Bitcoin halving takes place. And if you think about that for a second, that means that, within the next 262 days, we're very highly likely. There's probably a 99% chance we see some kind of rate reduction in the next 262 days. If that is the case, then you're going to see Bitcoin's price start going scatty anyway. Combine that with the Bitcoin halving, combine that with everything else, it seems very likely that Bitcoin's price is going to cross through $100,000 in the next 12 months. And if that's the case, even if you're not longing Bitcoin or shorting Bitcoin or trading Bitcoin, would it not just make sense to hold some Bitcoin? And that's where, when these bonds expire and all this money re-hits into circulation, bear in mind there is more money in circulation than ever before. If I actually look at monetary supply charts by Fred monetary supply, there we go. We should be able to see on here basically the way how much money is in circulation. Yeah, there you go. No, there's never been more money in circulation than ever. Back in, I don't know what the number is standing for here, but basically you can see 1965, 424, 1975, it doubles, 1985 is doubled again, 1995 is doubled again, and then of course that thing happened, and then monetary supply doubled again. Monetary supply has never been higher. Prices can go higher than ever before. People can't understand how high prices can get, and that's where the opportunity is. And I'm very bullish right now, especially on the long-term future of cryptocurrency, the long-term future of Bitcoin. I think there's never been a better time to be buying Bitcoin, quite simply because of what's happening again with the value of the US dollar. On this chart here, yeah, it looks like it's making some kind of price recovery. That is not the case. This is all fake. It's all nonsense. If you look at the daily chart and you zoom out, when Bitcoin's bull market began in 2017, the DXY was up here. When it ends, DXY is down here. And then we had a bear market, and then we had a bull market, and then we had a huge bear market. It was terrible. But the bull market's already technically begun. And we just need the DXY to keep dropping. And that's probably going to happen. It really doesn't look very strong right now. We're coming back up, retesting the underside of the level of resistance. And of course, if interest rates are due to drop, and that means cash becomes kind of worth less again because there's more cash in supply. If more cash is in supply, that means that the value of the US dollar's buying power drops. And if the value of the US dollar's buying power is dropping, people are putting their dollars into other assets like houses. The housing market will rebound. Everything is going to rebound in the next 12 months or so. So if that's the case, why aren't you all in on Bitcoin right now, is my question. Not that I should be telling you to do that. That is not financial advice, but it is something that I am. I am 100% completely into the crypto markets right now. And I believe that this stuff is going to work out very favorably for us over the next 12-month period. I said that I was going to talk about altcoins in today's video. There's one altcoin in particular that I want to bring to your attention in today's video. It's not XTP for a change, although I am still very bullish on the price of XTP, just to point that out, because I know that every time I don't mention XTP in a video, the entire comment section loses its brain and for some reason thinks I've sold my entire holdings, which is just not the case. I can make a video about another altcoin without mentioning XTP. Bear that in mind. Anyway, before we get onto that altcoin, Kyrgyzstan president supports local hydro-powered crypto mining. This, I wanted to point out, is something that nobody is really considering. Everybody always talks about the negative impacts of Bitcoin on the environment, forgetting to mention the fact that all of these battery-powered cars all have lithium that is mined in some of the dirtiest, horrible mines in the world where people die and stuff like that. And also forgetting that we burn coal to fire up those electric cars that are all good for the environment, don't we? So we burn coal, we burn gas to power our electric vehicles. Seems very counterproductive because when you send electricity through power lines and stuff like that, it's like 50% of the power is then lost through these power lines. You hear that buzzing, that's all power being lost. It's quite funny. But when it comes to Bitcoin mining, nobody seems to understand that Bitcoin mining is the fastest driver of clean green energy on earth right now, because it's more profitable to mine Bitcoin with a green renewable energy resource. If you can get free electricity powered by a hydro plant like in Kyrgyzstan, and you can use that free electricity to power a Bitcoin mine and earn money, why wouldn't you do that? It's a free source of energy. And so these free sources of energy are then creating these renewable power plants. And these renewable power plants, when they become profitable, they expand and then they start providing power to the grid, providing green energy. Bitcoin is technically the solution to the whole crisis that we have right now when it comes to providing renewable energy resources at a cost that is viable, because Bitcoin makes that cost viable by making it profit generating from day one. You don't have to worry about selling your energy to anybody because you're already using that energy to generate wealth, and that wealth you can put into buying more things. Like an expansion on your power plant. Either way, that's pretty good news. Next thing would be that Bitcoin remains stagnant. Where will the price go next? If you want to read more about that, go to cryptosavingexpert.com. And US lawmakers query Tim Cook over Apple's policies on crypto. The lawmaker said that Apple may be attempting to maximize its profits by introducing policies stifling innovation. It's interesting to see that US lawmakers think that Apple is not being very fair to crypto, and that might mean that, I mean, we all know that Apple is going to launch their own wallet at some point in time. We all know that in the next bull market, Apple's going to announce that they hold a bunch of Bitcoin. They probably already do hold a bunch of Bitcoin. And if I was Apple, I'd hold some Bitcoin, being that you are the most cash-rich company on earth. It kind of makes sense. Just bear all of those things in mind anyway. And of course, if you are interested, before we get on to 1 second, do drop a like in today's video. I'd appreciate it, especially if you enjoyed it so far. It would mean a lot. It really helps out with the video algorithm. At the same time, please do leave a comment down below with your thoughts on what you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin. If we just get one comment, that'd be great. Nobody really comments on videos these days, so that'd be pretty good if we can get a comment. And what was the other thing that I wanted to point out? Yeah, that was it. World Series of Trading Team. Thank you to the 104 people that have joined my team so far. If you want to join my World Series of Trading Team, the World Series of Trading starts very, very soon. If you actually get rid of this page here, you can see the World Series of Trading starts in 18 days' time. Registration is ending, but I think the actual competition starts before that. You don't have very long. And in terms of the next thing would be, if you want to win a Rolex Submariner, click on the link in today's video description that says /Rolex for BYBIT. Again, if you're new to BYBIT, you can make an account on BYBIT and you can enter the draw for the Rolex Submariner. Somebody has to win it. So if you want to win a Rolex sub, it's 15 grand watch. You can win it. It's free and somebody has to win it. That Rolex has been bought. It is being given away. All you need to do, click on the link in today's video description and have a great day. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.